It's been a little while. I'm not sure exactly how long it's been since I shot a video or put up a blog post, but it's been a little while. A couple of weeks ago, my brain was really picking up, my health was pretty good, and everything was really coming together. I was remembering a lot of things that I had learned, and then I couldn't remember for a while, and it really started to come back together quickly. And I think to a large extent, my theory about parts of the brain and how it would work in my case proved true. And that I have basically all the neural networks still, but the myelin had suffered entropy. And I actually, just over the last couple of days, took a course on neuroplasticity, which is pretty good. And I think there's a little more to it than just the myelination. There's also the axon terminals at the end and then the dendrites, and they probably had shrunk a little bit and now they expanded again as well. Anyways, it all adds up to all my information is coming back very quickly, especially when I have a light encounter with it. So when I take some of these books, I have tons of books sitting around me. It's hard to imagine what I have behind me. I just have stacks of books around my bed. And actually, here's like one corner over here. There's just there's just like a stack of books over there, and then right over here there's like a corner just stacked full of books. So once I interact with some of these books that I know are very good because I've already been through them, and I might not remember a lot about the books or the details, or some of it's kind of foggy and fuzzy, but once I go through it again, it comes back, and it comes back fast, and it comes back really well. So I've been going through a lot of that, mixing that with a lot of new material that I've encountered and been interacting with over doing the research on these books again. And I went into this really strong intake phase. So I did the normal stuff. I've still been teaching, I've still been going to my speaking groups, but I basically stopped doing output other than that. So I haven't been doing blog posts and I haven't been doing these videos. And I think I'm coming out of that. I meant to come out of it after like a couple of days. I kind of realized a little bit what was happening. I was like, a couple of days, I'll switch back over to output. And that became a week, and that became 2 weeks. So it might be, wow, it might be like 3 weeks or 4. I'm not sure exactly how long it's been. But it's been a while. Time kind of warped there for a while. But then my heart health started to deteriorate because I was staying up late every night reading, and I was almost constantly reading in my spare time, which is a lot of mental stress, mental strain, very energy intensive, right? The brain uses like 20% of your body's energy or something like that. I'm pretty sedentary now, so it's probably more in my case, especially in those high active phases. Last week, I did meet up with some people that run a marketing firm that they started for doing some voiceover work, and that went pretty well. And it's kind of cool. It'd be super interesting to do some voiceover work on basically anything. Training modules for companies is what they were looking at currently, but they branch out into everything from advertisements to animations. So it would be interesting just to get involved with, which would be cool. The speaking groups are going really well. The Montague group we're really starting to get organized now. There's some shifting at the beginning because it's a new group. It just got chartered. We just had a huge influx of people, so that's a lot of organizing, a lot of that type of stuff, which is good. We got all the family stuff coming up for Thanksgiving, which shouldn't be too huge. So I mean, I see my mother every day. And then I see Kristen and Evelyn maybe a couple of times a week on average, which is really cool. So that works out good. And we'll just have like a small family dinner get together type thing. And I've also, the writing wasn't just the intake, it was a lot of it, but I hit a little bit of a roadblock or a little bit of internal resistance, I guess, on the philosophy essay I was finishing up, because the last part that I'm going to do is going to be about loss and death and all this stuff. And I want to finish that up strong because I think it's been good so far. And I start out with suicide, then I go through questions, I go through pain. I started giving speeches on pain, kind of in a related fashion, but a little bit differently, which I might enter a speech contest like next month with those speeches based on pain. And then the last part is going to be loss, which is kind of the most intense part. So you've kind of built up to it. And I mean, he started out with suicide, so it's not like it wasn't intense at any point. But I've kind of built up to this, and now I'm not sure exactly how to structure it to end it. So I'm going to work on it today. Now it's late today, but I'm going to work it anyways, and then I'm going to finish it tomorrow and put it up. And then that one essay, so 1/4 of the essays I need to have done for the International Society for Philosophers, will be done and taken care of. So it'll be interesting. I went to do it just a little bit earlier today, and there was something I wanted to change on my website, and I ended up spending like over an hour, maybe an hour and a half, trying to change a little bit of the code, which I couldn't figure out. So I never actually did get fixed. I was able to change some stuff, but not the way I wanted. So I guess that pretty much brings us up to date. I'm switching back into more output mode. I still have a ton of books I want to read. I'm reading through the collected works of Benjamin Franklin, which are huge, and a bunch of other stuff. A lot of stuff on reading interventions from the Read Write program, Montessori. I'm taking a course in the philosophy of education from the Ayn Rand Institute, so from the objectivism perspective, and a ton of other important stuff I've laying over here, and I'm studying a couple of books by the Mann brothers, Thomas Mann and his brother Heinrich Mann. Thomas Mann is a very famous author. Heinrich Mann was somewhat in his time. They both wrote books on different perspectives of the hyperinflationary period in Germany between World War I and World War II, which is just extraordinary. They're super interesting. So there's that. But that all that stuff has to become less of a focus, and I'm going to switch over to doing more writing. And the philosophy writing is nice. The philosophy writing is cool, but the fiction writing is so enjoyable. You know, it's really weird to that I've moved away from it now because life feels less enjoyable. Life is more enjoyable when I do fiction writing. And a lot of times my reading turns into not being super enjoyable. It's more studying than anything else. A lot of times I'm reading fairly technical stuff, which is enjoyable, but not always super enjoyable. It's a different type of enjoyable. So I haven't been reading as much fiction either. I've mostly been reading nonfiction. Now I have done some stuff just for fun, like I mean yesterday in a less fun way, I finished off the book Sustaining the Transformation from the Department of the Navy about transforming Marines into thinking and believing they're Marines. And I also finished off, I believe it was yesterday, I finished off the course from Masterclass about singing from Reba McEntire, which, because I bought all the writing courses through Masterclass, which is an awesome site, masterclass.com, I bought all the writing courses, James Patterson and Shonda Rhimes, Aaron Sorkin, and David Mamet. And they were all excellent. So they launched a new program where you can pay $180 a year and you get access to all their courses, but not forever, just for the year that you're paying. Before it was $90 for a course, but you get access for life to the course. So, and they are pretty nice to look back on sometimes. I haven't done it a ton, but I like grandfathered in. So this first year I'm going to get for free, and I was thinking some other people might want to look at the courses, but I'm not sure if anyone actually does. But they're super interesting. And I have done a few singing exercises when I first started speaking, or a little after I first started speaking, just to clear up my voice and to be able to move from my chest voice to my head voice, because I couldn't. I would start at a low, and then I would go up, and then it would like crack in my throat, and I could go up higher, and that was horrible. I just ate a bunch of pretzels, so it's not going to happen right now. But I could go up higher, and I could go down lower, but I couldn't connect them at all, and it was really sketchy. And so I went through these scales, and I just would go through these scales for a couple of minutes a day, and my voice cleared up, and I was able to connect my chest and head voice. But I haven't done that in a long time, so my voice is a little more rough, and it's not quite as smooth, and it doesn't have the same range that it had when I was practicing, just a little bit. So I got access to that masterclass, and I was like, oh, well, Reba's country music masterclass, that sounds cool. And there's one by Christina Aguilera on there too. So I went through that, which was fun. It was a fun intake method. But I've been reading a lot less fiction now. I'm still working on book 3 from Harry Potter, which I'll finish those off for sure. I went through the first 2 books pretty quick. Every book, well, the first 3 books at least, starts off with the Dursleys though, and I slow down right there. The Dursleys really bore me, and it's important for Harry's character development. So that's, it's good. I see it. It's not actually that long. You move on from the Dursleys pretty quick, and the books are a lot better at those stages. But I slow down whenever I hit the Dursleys. That's for sure. So I want to switch back up instead of reading like I used to, maybe 4 or 5 nonfiction books and 1 fiction book at the same time. When I switched over to reading 4 fiction books and 1 nonfiction book at the same time, that was a very good mix for my fiction writing. So I want to try to move towards that again. It's my natural habit to fall into reading a ton of nonfiction books. And I've read, in the last couple of weeks, I've read a few thousand pages of nonfiction stuff in philosophy and psychology and economics and history, politics, quite a few different things. So that's not the most inspiring thing for fiction writing, though, and it's not the same type of enjoyment. I enjoy learning, so it's got that to it, but it's not the same. So it was an interesting 2 weeks. It was almost, I mean, it was like a religious experience actually. You right, you have all your memories and your knowledge, and you kind of project that to be fairly stable slash growing, and then if you lose it, it's really weird experience. But I lost it also over a fairly long period of time. It slowly like fell away, and I just got worse and worse. And then it coming back really quick is a really weird experience. It's just really weird. Most things, like I'm way out of shape. I'm weak and I'm fat, and my cardio is horrible because I can't run. I can't even go for walks. So because the impact's too much for my spine. So I'm really sedentary. And I mean, I'll make progress. You would make progress for it fairly fast if I started working out a lot more, which I am a little bit, but not a ton. But it would still take time. It'd take a long period of time. But my brain, once it started wiring itself, it has taken a long period of time. We've been seeing improvements for months. So we've been, I mean, I've been working on it. It's not like it came out of nowhere. But then all of a sudden, there was just those couple of weeks where, bam, like everything was firing on cue. So that was a unique experience, to say the least. I'm guessing most people do not get to experience that because you would have to lose a ton of cognitive ability and then and then get it back really quick. So really, really weird. It was a cool few weeks, but now I have to switch back over to doing something, to making something, producing something, and they're both enjoyable, but different types of enjoyment, and I'm looking forward to writing more. So I'm going to go write on the philosophy essay right now, finish that article off tomorrow, and delve back into my fiction writing here, because that's really what I want to be doing super long term. I'm not sure how teaching's gonna end up going, or how philosophy writing's gonna end up going in the future. There might be short term, medium term, long term. I'm not really sure, but fiction writing, just for the pure joy of it, is gonna be long term. So I definitely want to and look forward to delving back into that. We'll see. It'll be soon. I want to finish off this philosophy essay. That's all for now. Till next time.